Good morning to Anne. How are you? Happy Tuesday to you. It is the 28th of April of the year 2020, meaning it's the 28th day of the fourth month of the year 2020. We are going to continue with the fabulous The Lorax by Dr. Seuss. Okay, yesterday you listened to the story during our whole class session. If you want to listen to it again, I did share the link on YouTube or from YouTube on Dojo, okay, where it's me reading the story. Yesterday, what we looked at was cause and effect, right? So we looked at why something happened and what happened because of that why, okay? So if we look at different causes, just to review what we did yesterday, what happened here? The truffula trees were cut down. That was our why it happened. But what happened? The effect of what happened was that the Barbaloots had no food to eat, okay? What happened? They had no food. Why did that happen? The trees were cut down, okay? So this was the cause leading to this effect. The trees were cut down. What happened? They had no food to eat. Let's look at another one. The air was polluted with smog, okay? So if the air was polluted with smog, what happened because of that? The swans could not sing, okay? So what happened was that the swans could not sing because they had so much smog in their throat, okay? So they couldn't sing because the air was polluted with smog, okay? Another one that we did yesterday was the pond was polluted with gluppity glup and sloppity slop. Okay, now the pond was polluted. What happened because the pond was polluted? The pond is the little lake where all the fish were. The fish could not hum and they had to leave, didn't they? Most of you saw that the fish even were so upset that they walked out on their fins. Okay, so the fish could not hum was what happened. Why did that happen? Because the pond was polluted. The Onceler effect, okay? The Onceler effect is what we're going to talk about today, okay? He came to the forest, but what happened when he came to the forest? What are all the different things that happened because he came to the forest? What impact did the Onceler have on the environment? All right, the environment in this story is basically the setting of the forest, okay? The forest is the setting where the story takes place. It's the most important part of the story. The most important part of the story in this story is the forest because it's where it takes place. If we didn't have the forest, we wouldn't have a story, okay? So let's look at the forest before the Onceler arrives. Let's look here what it says. Way back in the days when the grass was still green and the pond was still wet and the clouds were still clean and the song of the Swami Swan rang out in space. One morning I came to a glorious place. So he says it's glorious. And I first saw the trees, the truffula trees, the bright colored tufts of the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. So look at all the different adjectives that he uses here to describe the beautiful forest, okay? So he says it was very green. It was very wet. It was very clean, okay? This glorious place, making it, wow, it's a glorious place. And then the bright colored tufts of the truffula trees and the fresh morning breeze. So if you think of a place, if you close your eyes and think of a place that's green, wet, clean, glorious, bright, and fresh, you're going to think, oh, that's amazing. It sounds so great. Okay? So that was the forest before the Onceler. Let's look at another one. Before the Onceler, under the trees, I saw the brown Barbaloots frisking about in their Barbaloot suits as they played in the shade and ate truffula fruits. From a rippleless pond came the comfortable sound of the humming fish humming while splashing around. Okay, so here again, they were frisking about. What is that frisking about? That's not an adjective, but it's describing what they're doing. And that means that they're very happy, just kind of playing. Look how nice they're playing. And they played in the shade. Yes? So it's not using adjectives to describe what is happening. They're using verbs and small phrases. They ate truffle of fruits, and we can see that they look very happy. And from the rippleless pond, rippleless means that there's a lot of movement in the water, a lot of ripples, okay? Came a comfortable sound. We all like comfortable sounds while they were splashing around. So if they're splashing around, it's because they're having fun, okay? So if we hear all of those phrases within our lovely setting, we know that it's a very happy setting, okay? It's a very beautiful setting. It's a beautiful forest. It's a very happy forest. But what happened to the forest after the once-ler? After the once-ler, okay? You're glumping the pond where the humming fish hummed. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off, and their future is deary. They'll walk on their fins and get woefully weary in search of some water that isn't so smeary. Okay, so here we have a lot of them. Glumping the pond. The glumping is the action that is happening here. Okay, that is glumping, putting all of the garbage and the waste into the pond to make it dirty. No more can they hum. Now we know that the fish can't hum anymore. Their gills are all gummed, so they have all of the garbage and waste on them. Their future is deary. They'll walk on their fists and get woefully weary in search of some water that isn't so smeary. So now if we listen to that and we think, what kind of setting is that? It's not going to be a very happy one, is it? Okay. Let's look at another picture of the forest after the once-ler. At that very moment, we heard a loud whack, and from the outside in the field came a sickening smack of the axe on a tree. Then we heard a tree fall, the very last truffula tree of them all. So here what we see is we hear a smack, and they tell us here exactly what happens, the very last truffula tree of them all. And we can actually see there that there are no more trees, that there's a lot of smoke in the air, okay? So it's not as colorful or bright as the first image. It is now very dark and gloomy and almost scary. Okay, so your task for today is you're going to need a piece of paper and a pencil and a ruler, because you're going to take your piece of paper and you're going to draw a line straight down the middle of your piece of paper. You're going to label one side before and the other side after, and think of different adjectives in describing words or phrases to describe each. How was it the forest? How was the forest before? How was the forest after? Okay, now we went through some of the words and phrases that were used in the story. We put some other ones here for you as well, okay? But if you have some more that are not here, please use them, okay? It is okay, absolutely. I used the word gloomy. If I want to say it was very gloomy after he arrived, I could write it here. Gloomy. It's not on the list, but that's okay. Let's think. Happy? No, after it wasn't very happy. Maybe it was dirty. Yes. Was it dark? Yes. It was very scary, I thought. Okay. And then maybe even on the other side, this is the before. The before. It was a very happy place. It was a very happy place. It was very bright. It was good. It was fresh, okay? So try to see where the adjectives or the phrases, because we have trees, smog, okay, where they could go to describe the before and the after, okay? After you do that, if you want a little bit of a challenge and practice on your sentence, on your writing skills, you may write descriptive sentences using all of these words. Oh, they have them here. All of the words here, okay, to describe the forest, the setting, okay? So for example, I could put, the forest was colorful and bright before the Onceler arrived. We agree, right? It was so beautiful. There were beautiful trees and no smog before the Onceler arrived. Now, keep in mind here to use capital letters. We have full stops. We have capitalized the Onceler because that is his name, okay? We use here was in the past tense, were in the past tense, because it is a story that we are retelling. We are retelling what has happened, okay? We can also use it for the after, okay? The after. So write the descriptive sentences using the words used to describe the setting. The forest was scary and dark after the Onceler arrived. There were no more beautiful trees left in the forest once the Onceler arrived. Again, capital letters, past tense, and full stops, okay? If you are writing your sentences, you should remember all of these that we should continue to try to do. Full stops, capital letters, finger space. Spelling check. Always go back, read it, make sure it makes sense. If you're copying one of the words, then you shouldn't have it misspelled, okay? Details, remember to include those details. Don't just say there were beautiful trees or there were trees, okay? There were beautiful and bright, colorful trees, okay? Add your details. Past tense verbs as well, okay? After the Onceler arrived, because he cut the trees down, okay? All of these different little details you can add. Have fun with this, and I can't wait to see your work on Dojo. Let me know if you have any questions.